Jersey Bladder 832. The zone asked us to look if we could see an object which is being seen by A-line at the moment. We've got something about 8 o'clock resembling the description.
Roger, and 832, Roger. What range would you estimate that target?
Around about the similar range to Albany from us now.
Well, looking through binoculars I am now. There's a second one just appeared behind the first one from where I am. Roger, 544, just confirming that all the passengers can see this aircraft. I've got the island visual. It's dead ahead. Can't say how far, probably 5 miles, but it's staying the same size. Looks to be off the northwest coast of Albany.
A-line 544, Roger, would you like descent?
Please, I better go down, I think.
A-line 544, Roger, descend to altitude 2,000 feet, the QNH is 1021.
2,000 feet, 1021. It's very plain to see from where I am now, without any binoculars.
Were you scared?
I wasn't too happy, put it that way. I was quite glad to get on the ground and have a cup of tea.
We flew to Guernsey, an island off the northwest coast of France, to get some first-hand testimony where the sighting took place. Here, we met with Captain Ray Bowyer and 2 of his passengers.
We're travelling back from Southampton to Albany in a Trilender. I had noticed Ray looking out through the windscreen with his binoculars, which is quite unusual.
I saw Ray turn around and talk to someone behind him while we were flying. Now, it wasn't worrying from the standpoint of flying, but it was unusual. And he was gesturing to something down below.
On nearing the object, a second identical shape appeared beyond the first. Both objects were of a flattened disc shape with a dark area to the right. They were brilliant yellow with light emanating from within, and I estimated them to be up to possibly a mile across.
I pointed it out to John. He had to lean across me to be able to see it.
It was like that.
This was a big object in the sky, very, very big object. And I didn't want to be too close to it. So it was at that time anyway where we had to descend to land. And with both objects still visible and to a lot of the passengers in the back of the aircraft, we descended through the 2,000-foot haze layer and lost sight of it.
So Ray, why didn't you bring this to the attention of your passengers? I mean, normally when a pilot sees something of interest, he says, if you look out to your left, you'll see...
Yeah, New York.
Right, you know what
It was a little bit far away from me. Well, it was, I didn't want to alarm anybody at that point. There again, as we got closer to these objects, there was no hiding it. They were just there. I've taken note of some of the differences between the British and the US reporting system. It appears that attitudes on opposite sides of the Atlantic are very different when it comes to the required reporting and recording of this type of event. I would have been shocked if I was told that the CAA in UK would obstruct an investigation, or if the CAA told me that what I had seen was something entirely different. But it seems that pilots in America are used to this sort of thing here.
I returned home from Guernsey to find a DVD sent to me from Salida, Colorado. Listen carefully to the 6-year-old girl who points out a UFO to her dad.
Dad, can a spaceship grow bigger like that? Huh? Huh?
Uh-huh.
It could.
I'm not sure what the sounds are, but the object reminds me of what Ray and his passengers described seeing.
It moved over that part of the sky there. It probably moved 500, it probably moved 100 miles in a matter of a second or two.
These up there now, you know. You see that now? See a big one? See it going? Do you see it? Oh, you can't see it.
I can't see it with this.
My name is Jean-Charles Duboc. I am a retired Air France captain. During Air France flight 3532 from Nice to London on 28 January 1994, I observed with my crew a UFO in broad daylight near Paris. And it looked like this, with a bank angle of 45 degrees. It seemed to be a huge flying disc. It stabilized and stopped moving. It was about 1,000 feet wide. The most incredible aspect is that it became transparent and disappeared in about 10 to 20 seconds. My co-pilot, Chief Steward, and I quickly realized that what we were seeing didn't resemble anything known to us, and we reported our sighting to RAN's traffic control. There is a crew of 3 persons plus radar correlation at the same time, not the same place but the same time, and that means that we have had something real over Paris one day, a huge thing.
Good evening. Last week, several people in Stephenville, Texas, a small rural town of about 15,000, 70 miles southwest of Fort Worth, witnessed what many are calling a UFO. James Fox, I know you've been probing this for a long time. We've never got an answer to this. Why do you think the Air Force doesn't want this out?
Well, I mean, what are they going to say? We don't know what's flying around in our airspace with impunity.
Why can't they say that?
I think that possibly could. I wish they would. If the Air Force is listening tonight, why don't you tell us the truth?
Well, I came in on Tuesday night, a week and a half ago, started down the driveway, and I looked back here to the southwest, just past the windmill. So I'd say maybe 5 miles away, there was a real bright light came on, and it was almost as bright as like a welding arc. One of the guys that was at my house that night called up and said that he wasn't coming back to my house until we got armed guards. And I said, why is that? And he said, well, there was a UFO flew over your house Tuesday night. I said, I saw it.
I was so distracted by what I saw that you could have had a train go in front of me and I wouldn't probably heard it because I was so focused on these lights, but I do not remember hearing any noise at all whatsoever.
How would you describe the acceleration?
Probably the speed of light. And I tried keeping up with my binoculars and I couldn't.
This case, so far, qualifies for that 5%. The lack of sound, the speed of the object, and apparently the military's interest.
There were 2 jets coming from that direction this way, and I did hear the jets.
You know, we're used to seeing military aircraft in our skies here in this area. We're used to seeing, you know, the helicopters and the fighter jets and the C-130s, and I mean, we know what those look like.
By the way,
so,
when it comes to military aircraft, I am a trained observer, so...
Whatever that's supposed to mean.
Whatever that means, right? Why don't we take another break here? We're visiting with James Fox, filmmaker in town, doing research on the UFOs and interviews. We'll take a break. We're back right after this.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Dublin.
In Dublin, the whole town showed up to discuss this sighting.
My name is Steve Hudgens. I'm senior field investigator for MUFON. We're down here to investigate this extraordinary event.
It was going so fast and it didn't make any noise. The light seemed to be streaming and breaking around it.
Then 10 minutes later it came back by, and that's when it had the 2 military jets chasing it.
I've been a witness to this and give you all the information I can.
You don't want to come forward and say anything because they'll say, oh, they're an idiot, because I've thought that before until I saw this.
I guarantee you the jet, whoever's flying the jets, they had a visual on it.
It was incredible. I listened to many witnesses and then went to the editors of the local paper where this story first broke.
Headlines. I mean, these are all headlines.
Angela Joyner saw me on CNN the night before and assumed I had all the answers.
Major Carl Lewis at Carswell, I've talked to him a lot, and he